Okay, so one of our cruise port stops on our Trans-Pacific cruise was to Hakodate in Japan. So we really enjoyed this stop and saw some amazing things, snow monkeys, giant crabs. So stick around, check it out, find out what we liked, what we didn't like, where we went, and what we'd recommend. So we arrived quite early in Hakodate. We arrived there like before 7 a.m. We kind of got off straight away. In hindsight, I probably wouldn't do that. I would probably have a leisurely breakfast on the ship and then get off a bit later. But anyway, we got off to go and look at the morning market. I personally don't really like a lot of seafood and find it really creepy, but it was interesting. There was lots of seafood, giant crabs and all sorts of other creepy things. But anyway, it was quite enjoyable. But then we sort of had a bit of time to spare, so we worked out about the public transport system. So we got the tram pass. There's a number of different options. We got the 1 day pass and went off and got the tram. So we had to work out how to use the trams. It took a little bit, but once you get used to it, or you know how to use it, it's really quite easy. So you get on in the middle of the tram, and when you get on, you can take a little paper ticket that says like where you started. And if you've got a 1 day card, I don't think you need these. We didn't pick them up and we weren't ever told we needed one. But if you are just paying as you go, you just get one of these little tickets. So you get on in the middle of the tram, and there is a board up the top that tells you how much it costs from where you got on to where you are now. So you know how much you need to pay. And then when you've finished, you get off, you go to the front of the tram and you pay the driver. So you give him your little ticket, so that tells him where you got on, and you pay him for that. Or if you've got the 1 day pass, which we had, so the 1 day pass, you just scratch out the dates. It was the same as the one that we had in Hiroshima, so I think they're pretty common across Japan. And then he lets you off. So the tram system is pretty easy. It's just one line going through the town. So highly recommend doing that to save yourself a bit of money. So the first place we went to was the Goryokaku Tower Fortress. So this is a fortress, and there's an observational tower that you can go up. We paid to do that and highly recommend it. The views were stunning across the city and of the fort. So this is a star-shaped fort, and it's massive. It's a Western style citadel, and it was built in the last years of the Edo period, which was between 1603 and 1868. And it was for the defence of Hakodate against the imperialist threats from the Western powers. So a few years later, it became the site of a civil war between an army of the shogunate and the superior troops of the newly established Meiji government. And then later, after the fort lost its military importance, it was turned into a public park in the 1910s, and it's really quite stunning. So there was over 1,000 cherry trees were planted here. So in the height of the cherry blossom season, which is generally early May, this park is absolutely stunning. I can imagine how good it was. We weren't there for the peak, but it was really lovely. Right in the middle of the park is the former magistrate's office, and there's a number of buildings and statues. This is really nice walking around. We enjoyed that. And from after we left the fort, we went for our bucket list item for Hakodate, which was to go and see the snow monkeys. So the snow monkeys are situated at the end of the tram line, well, nearly at the end, and they're within the botanical gardens, or at least that's what it says. So I was expecting, you know, like a big botanical gardens, and then you'd walk through and you'd find the snow monkeys in one section of it, and it's not like that at all. So we got the tram out there, as I say, it was fairly near the end of the line, and then we walked, and it was quite a long walk. So I highly recommend, if you did do it, maybe consider getting a taxi from there. Like, I would do that. I would get a taxi at least one of the ways. It was quite nice, like seeing. It's just like in a kind of local residential area, so it was quite interesting to see. But I would certainly at least get a taxi one of the ways rather than walking both ways like we did. And you get there, and then the monkeys, you pay your entry fee, and then the monkeys are literally just across the little courtyard. It's not all the way through a gardens or anything. They're in an area with the hot spring, and they're very cute. So there's a like announcement that comes over the top that tells you about them, about what they eat, how they live. That, you know, that the first ones, there was about 20 of them that came over from a zoo, and so the ones that are living there now are all descendants of them. They have the hot springs running all through the winter. They stop the springs when the first baby is born if they are breeding that year. And most of them, about 80%, do spend a lot of time in the springs. There's about 20% that don't go into the water at all, that don't like it. But there's no video of this. I've just got some photos because you're not allowed to post the video on social media. But I did take lots of video. They were so cute. I don't know. We spent ages and ages watching them. They're very cute. In the springs, out of the springs, you know, interacting with each other. It was really good fun. So it is in a botanical gardens, as they say. The botanical gardens is actually, it's more like a greenhouse. So facing the monkeys, it's just on the right-hand side. Worth going into, you know, nice plants, some bugs and things, but it's very small. It's not what you would expect of a botanical gardens, but still worth going into there. We got the tram back, and we went back to the main area, and we went to the Red Brick Warehouses. So the Kanemori Red Brick Warehouses, they were built in 1901. The area around it is really interesting, and the market was quite good. We stopped off at this great patisserie. We had this absolutely amazing double chocolate cake thing. This was to die for. Everything was as beautiful as this, you can see in this bit of video, and it was so yum. We also did some shopping. So there was a store selling chopsticks where they engraved names in them. So we had seen this in Miyajima Island when we went to Hiroshima, and we didn't get them there because we were worried about running out of time. And so we'd been looking for these ever since, because we got some of these done for all the kids. So it was a great souvenir for the family. So yeah, so look out for that if that's something that you're interested in getting, and there's lots of other souvenirs and things to buy. We had lunch just near the Red Brick Warehouses at the Lucky Perro burger place, because when I looked up things to do in Hakodate, it came up with this as being like a local, you know, thing to eat. I don't know, it was a chicken burger. It was okay. I personally would probably not go there again. But like it was nice, but it wasn't as amazing as I thought it would be. I don't know. It was a chicken burger, so I don't really know what I expected. But yeah, it was pretty good. So we did, of course, stop into one of the convenience stores, and I will do a video on these. The convenience stores in Japan are just absolutely amazing. So this is your Family Mart, 7-Eleven, Lawson's. You can get everything you want there, but also you can get food and drinks. So we popped in to get drinks, and then we also got some snacks in there. I got the Japanese fried salty chicken, which was really yummy. The chicken was really good quality, really nice. And my partner got the curry bread, which he said was really yummy as well. So you can get foods like that. You can also, it's a convenience store, so you can also get, you know, foods to cook or toiletries or anything you need. And these are everywhere in Japan. You know, there's one on every street corner pretty much. So we spent a lot of time, that's where we got a lot of our food from. It was always interesting just to pop in, see what they had, try something different. So I highly recommend doing that, and so I'll do another video about that later. So I hope you found this video on Hakodate useful. I am putting up videos from all of our port stops, so through Japan and Alaska, and then after that we spent some time in Canada, going around British Columbia and Seattle, so I also put up videos for there. So please do like and subscribe if you're interested, and it really does help my channel grow. And if you subscribe, then you'll be the first to know when I put up a new video. So I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, thanks, bye.